I thought this would make a good video because, Mark, you're a powerlifter. You're going now for the 606 bench press, so that's a strength goal. But you also are a proponent. Hold on, let's just. Yeah, you got the ass chest.
You should put something else right there.
If you can't, it's my hand's getting squeezed. But you're also a proponent, besides being, a powerlifter, of getting jacked. You have the philosophy, right? Descartes says, "I think, therefore I am," and you say, "Jacked and tan."
That's right.
It's not a training style. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle more than anything else. So why, for you, would you say that building muscle is important for strength? And why do you put such emphasis? Different powerlifters, you look at them, they might say, building muscle can be beneficial. You go like jacked and tan, get strong. Is that because you like aesthetics, or is it because you think that building muscle helps with strength?
I would say like 1 out of every several hundred powerlifters are really well built.
Yeah.
In the time that we've had here at Super Training, the whole team's gonna get mad at me now. But the time we've had here at Super Training, we haven't had a lot of guys that have been jacked.
Yeah.
Like overly jacked to the point where you're like, wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
We haven't
shocked.
we haven't had a ton of that. But anytime we do, those guys are really strong.
Right.
So you have choices. You can either be big and fat and try to push a lot of weight that way. That's one way of doing it. Or you can be jacked and tan. And the jacked and tan principle is just, kind of realizing that if you work for it, that you can have it all. You don't have to be fat to be strong. You can just simply gain more muscle mass. When you gain more muscle mass, you start to create more leverages. If you look at, look at my forearms here, they're pretty big. Bicep is pretty big. Got a pretty big tricep back here and a pretty big lat. And all those things kind of connect with each other when I'm able to do a bench press. That's why I'm able to do a 555 bench press for a double, is because I got more cushion for the push-in. So you could be fat, and you could get some of this going by being heavy. If you're 330 pounds, you might have a 20-inch arm as well. Or I'm 260, 265, you could have a 20-inch arm that way.
Now, with regards then, because powerlifting is, a weight class sport, so you have to make weight. How does that factor in? Do you feel that if your goal isn't to compete, you just focus on trying to build as much muscle as possible, or how do you incorporate then building muscle into your strongest plan?
Well, first of all, you never want to have the weight class hinder your strength.
Yeah.
This is powerlifting. You're trying to lift the most amount of weight, trying to give yourself the best opportunity to lift the most amount of weight. And so if you're going to just say, I'm going to creep around the 181 class all the time, how realistic is that for you? How realistic is that for your height and your body type?
And this kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier on the way over here. Ed Cohn's actually a great example of that. He kept moving up in terms of weight class. He started at 165, and his final meet, I believe, was 242.
Right.
They competed at. But just the idea, if your goal is to be a powerlifter, you're trying to be as strong as possible, right? Are you going to compete in the same weight class always your whole life? Are you trying to be competitive at that, or just to total the most in an absolute sense? So maybe building muscle over time.
And I just think you have to prioritize your goals. You know, if you're someone who's listening to this right now, and you're just looking at your gut and you're like, fuck man, I'm just too fat, and you want to lose weight, then have the strength to lose weight. Have the strength to believe in yourself and follow through with a diet or follow through with a program that may actually make you lift less weight for a little while.
Mark, what difference would you say your style training has over maybe a traditional powerlifting style, because you do believe in incorporating building muscle as well as getting stronger? How does that differ at all than, let's say, a typical powerlifting program? Are there principles that you incorporate? Like, what are some of your muscle building principles that you incorporate?
I think whenever you get focused in on one thing specifically for too long, you start to lose other attributes. So if you're just focused in on being super smart and all you ever do is read books, it's going to be really hard to pick up chicks.
Right.
You're not going to be social. You're going to be socially awkward and not understand how to go about doing it. You won't have any balance. The same thing in the weight room. If you're just focused on strength, then you're probably going to be missing out on hypertrophy. You're probably going to be missing out on some conditioning. You're probably going to be missing out on some things that could help you build muscle and help you actually gain strength, but in a different way. Maybe it'll take a longer process. So I have always kind of had the principle of lift heavy, find an exercise, find a barbell movement that we can push the most amount of weight on, that we can possibly lift. So you want to try to find exercises, bench press, squat, deadlift, bent over row, and even exercises where you're kind of cheating and using momentum. One-arm dumbbell rows where you see people really just getting a lot of body English behind them. Those movements are great because they're going to allow you to overload, allow you to handle a lot of weight, and allow you to build a lot of mass and build a lot of size. And then after that, you're not going to be able to usually get enough volume from those movements, or not get enough just like hypertrophy stimulus, because you're just going to be concentrating mainly on going so heavy. And so you take some of the other exercises and you go fluff and puff on it, and you do bodybuilding type stuff.
High reps.
Where you're doing higher reps. Maybe you do 3 sets of 20, or maybe you're doing conditioning. Increase your conditioning. When you increase your conditioning, you're able to handle more work. When you're able to handle more work, you recover faster from your workouts. So everything really blends together. And without like a good foundation in fitness, without a good foundation in hypertrophy, and your only focus is on strength, you're really missing out on some other components that can make you stronger.
It's funny that you say all this too, because if you look at some of the old school powerlifters, I think they kind of knew that about like building muscle or whatnot. Looking at Ed Cohn's training program, he has this like power movement that he does, but he also did quite a bit of hypertrophy work. We saw him do lateral raises, a whole bunch of front raises, a bunch of different things.
You look at a lot of guys that have come into powerlifting more recently, that have really set powerlifting on fire. You got like, you have Dan Green, and you have Jesse Norris. You got some guys with these bodybuilding backgrounds. Stan Efferding came in and just started smashing world records virtually out of nowhere. Obviously, he was building his body for years and years, but nobody knew how strong he was of a powerlifter.
So Mark, jacked and tan, not just a training philosophy, it's a lifestyle. Anything you want to say in closing?
Anything I want to say in closing is just, the jacked and tan approach is to realize that you are valuable, you are worth something, and you can have it all. You can put your time and effort into a lot of different things and swallow a lot of things up. You don't have to just be a master of one thing. There's really no reason why you can't branch out and do a lot of other things. If somebody would have told me years ago that I'd be an inventor and an owner of this awesome gym, Super Training, and an editor, for God's sakes, and somebody who's writing a book and all these different things, I probably would have never believed it. But believe in yourself and try to chase down some different dreams. Try to set different goals for yourself and realize that you can do it. Just got to put a lot of work into it.
Mark, thanks for being on. If you liked the video, oh my hand! If you liked the video, make sure to like the damn video. Check out Mark's channel, links in the description. And I'll be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.